I have collected some pictures for you about my experiences, and I started this approach of creative museum from where we are actually using reality creatively. And I think that in many museums the structures are very rigid, and we need to overthink our roles and maybe set up new projects and think as if we were in the same ship, working for the same aim, instead of fighting sometimes, what I very often see in museums. One of the problems of museums is, I still think, and I don't go for virtual museums, but for real museums, is a distance. So does the visitor understand the message of what we want to say, or the message of the art? Do we really have the good channels to reach the visitors, or do we have the best message? Sometimes even our colleagues can not understand what is going on if they work very separately, and there can be a gap between the reality, what we see, and the reality, what they see. So using our resources creatively means to me also using our spaces creatively, and many museums these years undergo refurbishment, like the Latvian National Museum will also do. So how can we use the spaces we have used for decades or maybe a century long in a new way? And I have taken the idea of Hundertwasser, who says about the window right, which means that you are entitled to lean out from your window and decorate it as you wish. So why don't we make these spaces according to our needs or to the needs of the audience? And this, of course, would need and meet that like a rodent sculpture is in this setting that old and new things meet, and then there would be maybe controversial. This is actually the transforming of the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. And this is my most touching Holocaust memorial in Budapest. I think that these spaces have to have a special meaning for the visitor. So maybe this would be just the emotional hint and idea and memory which makes it memorable and which makes me think about my own history or my own identity. Are the spaces inviting us to act, to be there, to be present in that space? This is the Hero Square before my museum. And I think that if we take the initiative to step in the space, like the little guy behind the water, and experiment what is inside, if we let visitors do this, then they would have a very special experience, and it is not only the objects or the artifacts that visitors are looking for, but experience. And what is behind the scenes, we can also enjoy this, again, referring back to the structure with our team. This is a picture of our training for volunteers, and we can laugh on our own mistakes or on situations which happen with all visitors. How can we invite visitors to participate? Of course, very often participation can also only mean that they start thinking about that object. But how can we take it further? Shall we maybe invite them to sit down and tell their opinion, or give us new ideas? Or maybe shall we say that here you are, we have some objects, you can touch them. Maybe we should creatively think about our own collection and either invite kids or adults to create their own things and be not just someone who observes the artifacts, but take part in it. And we also should think creatively about how to keep collections and say that, well, here there are the birds behind the glasses, but you, visitor, are welcome to tell your comment or leave your donation. This is probably the most at this point what you can do. And what In these times when the budget of museums is constantly decreasing, it means that we have to take new initiatives, and currently I see this as either becoming a friend, so either inviting friends to support the museum with money, if they have more, or inviting volunteers, inviting people who have time and inviting them to give this time to our museum. So either support our financial or our human resources side. And creative museums means also to me at the end of the process, if I can add anything to the social value, if I can add any change to the society, if I can add anything to the person to change, to transform herself or himself and think creatively about himself. This photo was taken here in Riga 1.5 years ago, and well, even a dog can think about himself as little else. So why not? I think that we have the limits only here in our brain. So creativity should let us free, and I think coming back to the structure that we should let it free, grow free, and develop it free, and use all the resources we have, but to have fresh eyes for this.
Many thanks.